Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. We're on season 5, episode number 6. Tonight's the sports edition. Andy, how are you?
Pretty good. Going to kind of keep this one college-based today.
A lot of sports. There's so much happening in college. We're going to focus on that. We've got some other things going on as well, but it's going to be sports theme, of course, for our typical Monday night show. And we'll start off with the trivia question, which is going to tie into everything, right?
Yes. Puts a nice little bow on it, I think.
Trivia question. The year 2000.
Yeah.
The year 2000. So 23 years ago.
The year 2000.
0-0. Who was the Heisman Trophy winner? Who was a local kid from Minnesota that won the Heisman Trophy in college football on this date? 23 years ago. On this date, who won it?
Wasn't Joe Mauer? No.
No. Heisman Trophy.
I got nothing.
He was supposed to go college.
He was supposed to play football.
Yes, and he didn't. So, all right.
Could have been.
I'll bring up your deal here. We got sports to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll circle back to the end of the episode for some more answers on the trivia, which many of you will probably know, but we got lots of things here.
All right, here we go. Just as you know, we are not the best podcast anywhere. Reported by this gal here on Thursday Night Football.
Oh,
so
awesome.
The best podcast anywhere.
I like it.
All right, sports and songs, 80s baseball stat of the week. It's not really the 80s, it's more of a 70s, but I thought it was kind of neat. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Over 100 marijuana plants sprouted at Anaheim Stadium playing field during the 76 season after the Who had played a concert there.
Perfect. So this is Anaheim, and where the Angels play. And
yes.
Marijuana sprouts started sprouting up the plants after a Who concert.
Just saying.
That's a good stat. Right. That's a good stat.
There we go. Coach Entz of the Bison put this out. The last 10 years have been an unbelievable experience for my family and myself. People have asked me over and over, what is it about the Bison and Fargo? It's easy, the people. Yeah, you can tell right there he's kissing ass. Next year, he will be the defensive line or linebacker coach at Southern Cal. He is moving on.
Nice.
So we will see him here in Big Ten football here in Gopher Country. He will be kind of back in the neighborhood, but he is going on to USC after this year's playoff tour.
Well, congrats.
Which is kind of weird, but we'll get back to that too. You know how Coach Bowl goes straight from a head coach to head coach at D1, and this guy goes from head coach to a linebacker coach in D1. So maybe he offered defensive or head coach jobs and didn't want them. Big shoes to fill. He wants to work his way up. We'll see.
Yeah, interesting.
Tony Granato, former Wisconsin hockey player. His daughter, Cammie, got a job, I think it's with Canucks in the front office. Anyway, he debated on how to share the news. He was taking a temporary leave of absence from NBC Sports Chicago and Blackhawks broadcast, as well as the NHL Network. He was recently diagnosed with a form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Tony Granato he's a cheddarhead. He played at Wisconsin, led Wisconsin coaching-wise to the Big Ten title a couple years ago. So just thoughts and prayers to Tony and the family. I think I said his daughter earlier, his sister, Cammie. I'm sorry. His sister, Cammie, is with. She's done lots of hockey things. So the whole family, Granato family in Wisconsin hockey, pretty popular over there, pretty famous. So our best to Tony and his family. Okay. Also, locally, Doug McLeod, former Gopher voice and other local Minnesota sports voice, has passed away. So thoughts and prayers to the McLeod family.
Yeah, very recognizable voice.
Yes. One of the few guys who can pull off a mustache.
Yes.
Him and Tom Selleck. Speaking of, let's do some hockey, college hockey. Here we go, CCHA. The Tommies are in first place, Dan.
Wow. Move it up. They're up in D1 playing with these guys. And
with the big boys, there they are. 21 games in, and or 21 points, 12 games in, 7-5. 9-8-1 overall. Not a lot of winning records there in that conference, but the Tommies have the best one. And Augustana, they will be playing 25-26 as a full member. If you saw on our social media, they're building a new hockey arena down there in Augustana, South Dakota for them. So they will be part of the group.
Okay.
The Tommies, Michigan Tech, Mankato, Bemidji, Northern Michigan. Then there we go with the NAHA, St. Cloud State, 7-0-1 in the conference, 9-5 overall, and 2. At North Dakota, Western Michigan, Denver, etc., etc. Then we get to the Big Ten. There's the Gophers. I don't know what makes me happier. The Gophers are in first, or Wisconsin's in last. I don't know what I like.
Nice, a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a nice debate. Half full, half empty. You know. And the gals, Ohio State still holding on to number 1 in the WCHA. Gophers 2, Wisconsin 3. Boom, boom, boom. 13-1, 10-3-1, 10-4. So pretty tight action with those top 3 teams.
Awesome.
And the Beavs are not in last place, by the way. I just want to point that out. NSIC, Northern Sun. We're going to talk some other sports here now. Here's a little men's basketball. Of course, early in season. Mankato and Moorhead both 10-0. Overall, 4-0 in conference. There's the Beavs right in the middle of the pack, 2-2, 6-4 overall. St. Cloud State down towards the bottom. And, of course, Minnesota Crookston bringing up the rear, as we say. The gals, Northern State, 8-2. Concordia, 8-2. There's the Beavs towards the bottom, at 2-5 overall, 0-4 in conference. Thank God for Wayne State being 0-5. The Summit League, we're talking basketball now, Dan.
Yes.
Men's basketball standings, here we go. No conference games yet, but we are overall games. South Dakota, 7-3. North Dakota State, 7-4. Boston. That pesky Oral Roberts in there. Pesky.
Pesky, yes.
4-4 overall. You know what this means? It means the gals are next. Look at that.
Yes.
There it is. Gals basketball. South Dakota again first. South Dakota State 2. ORU 3. Bison kind of middle of the pack there. 3-0 at home. 1-3 on the road. Got to win those road games, girls. 4-6 overall. Conference season coming up. In fact, I think the guys we put on social media, the men's team, and I kid you, I beat someone like 108-19 or something like that the other day. Just sad. Big Ten. Don't see this very often. Northwestern on top. Northwestern, 7-1.
Wow. Oh, yes, you're right.
Look at that. I had to look twice. And there's the Gophers surprisingly in the middle. 7-3 overall, 1-1. But Big Ten is such a tough. I mean, Michigan State's 0-2. Really? The last Michigan State, really? So we'll see how that turns out. And the gals for Big Ten, there's the Gophers, number 2. 8-1 at home, 1-0 on the road. It's only one road game. They won it, though. That's good for them. So let's see if they
Now, Andy, I looked to see when Iowa will make the trip here. It's going to be middle or end of February. Caitlin Clark and company will be at Williams Arena, I believe, for
the barn, as we call it.
The barn will be last time I get a chance to see Caitlin Clark for Iowa. I might try to look at getting tickets. It's a Wednesday night game at 8 p.m.
Yes.
To see Iowa against the Golden Gophers women's. We'll talk more about that in the next couple of months, but that could be a good, fun game to go to.
I want to go wear my non-grata shirt and see if she'll sign it.
Yes, Caitlin and
now Talon sign the other side.
Talon, get them mixed up.
Yep.
Talon should go and see which one.
Yes. Get their picture together.
Yes, it's never been done.
Twinsies. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Division III football. Here we go. Their championship game is coming up the 15th. North Central Illinois against Cortland. So there we go. So there that Wartburg was in the semis. They lost by 7. They put up a good fight. That's our closest local team we had in the D3 finals. D2, which they reseed is when they hit the Final Four. So as much as you have your little bracket board in your sheets when you do it, they reseed at the Final Four. Colorado School of Mines is just walking through everything. Harding, they had it pretty easily. So 2 high-powered teams. It's almost kind of like the high school tournament stand, where these 2 teams are like powered through the championship on each side.
Yeah, this will be the best game on paper for the weekend of college football games, not D1, but all the FCS and the D2 and D3. This should be the closest matchup.
Yeah, this should be a fun one. Speaking of FCS, Bison go to Montana. And then the Bunnies at U-Albany. Now, actually, U-Albany was the lower seed. It had a better record going into that last game, but it is what it is. U-Albany, I'm picking the 2. I'm picking U-Albany and the Bison there, Dan, to play on the championship.
Well, that would be very interesting. Now, South Dakota State's the overwhelming favorite to win that
undefeated
game.
This year. They're
ranked number 1. Albany, I looked it up. They were at the end of the regular season ranked nationally, ranked 15th, and they're in the Final Four.
Yep.
And North Dakota finished in the 7th spot. And Montana's 2, so you got a 1 and a 2 in there. But boy, this could be some good football.
Yep. South Dakota State does have the dome. Montana plays outside in the elements, as we like to say.
In the elements, yes.
Women's volleyball. Just want to bring this in because we had 2 Big Ten teams in here. Nebraska against Pittsburgh and Scotty and Texas on the other side in the semifinals for their championship. Usually it's the Gophers have always kind of made it this far, and they didn't this year. They were bounced in the first round. Both Wisconsin and Nebraska. Nebraska's a very, very good volleyball team. So don't be surprised to see Nebraska taking the trophy home there. And speaking of gals and the WNBA, they had their draft lottery the other day. Basically, the 4 teams that don't make the playoffs are in their draft lottery.
Oh, okay.
So here it is, the records, combined records, this and that. Indiana gets the number 1 pick, then LA, Phoenix, and Seattle. And the rest are based on record.
Okay.
Minnesota will get the 7th pick. So Indiana, if you were a betting man right now, start getting your Indiana jerseys with Caitlin Clark's name on it, because
she'll be the number 1 overall pick. Is that the mock draft right now? The analysts say, okay.
Yep, that's kind of where it's going.
Fun to watch.
Which brings me to the soapbox, Dan.
I love it.
Here we go.
I can only imagine, Andy, what the topic is. There's so many to pick from.
Well, because I put it right here after the WNBA lottery.
Okay.
And this is just my 2 cents here. I like the fact that the WNBA and women's college basketball do not overlap, like with the men. Because now that they had their draft lottery, and they'll have their draft soon after the playoffs, when you still have these names all still fresh in your head, you know who did good.
Okay.
So I kind of like that. Now, should the NBA change their schedule? I don't follow it, so I'm not going to lose any sleep if they do or not. Marketing-wise, I think it's good that WNBA, they go in the summer because they're not going to be able to compete with college basketball, college football, pro basketball. They would just get lost in the shuffle. And that's not a rip on the WNBA. They would just get lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
So having them play in the summer, I think is good. But I like the fact how their draft is right after March Madness. We still know the names. It's a little more fun and exciting. Should the NBA do their draft that soon? Maybe get more NFL, other sports. Do it a little bit after the college finals. Names are still popular. We still know who it is. A little more interest. Instead of watching a draft going, oh, yeah, I forgot about him. Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. Do it a little bit after the finals, and that's that. That's what I gotta, and that's all I gotta say about that one, as my friend Forrest would say.
Perfect.
But I also kind of getting back to uh the reseedings in college football in the tournament there. I don't think reseeding in the Final Four is a smart thing. You set your bracket and you go, boom. It's my opinion.
So you're talking now for the football, the F's.
Yeah, when you get to the Final Four, don't reseed them. Just let it go. I don't like that. I know some other sports do that. They reseed you after every round or every so many rounds. And
Well, if the college football would do it what I call the correct way, have everyone play their conference finals and have the coaches vote, and then you get your top four, and it is what it is. One will play 4, 2 would play 3. This year, you've got Miami, who's the 4th seed, Florida State, not even in it but they are the 4th best team in America.
Yep. And some people say they didn't make it because their quarterback got hurt. Who's going to watch that team? You never know.
Well, it's fair enough, but they finished 4th. I mean, they were the 4th.
They earned that spot. I don't care if the guy hurt last
and they're undefeated. I don't care who's hurt. They are undefeated in a Power 5 conference, and so they did everything they could to get there. Now they're not. So now we've got this dilemma. Now, earlier this week, a lawsuit was filed regarding this. For college football. So lots of things going on here. We don't know how this is all going to shake out, but there's a lot of people unhappy with all that. But we'll have more of that on next week's show as well.
One other story that came out, I don't know if it was hogwash or real or conspiracy theorists, but it was one of the things that got you thinking too. One person threw out there going, Florida State wants to leave their conference and join the Big Ten or join another conference. And if their conference is going to get no love and respect for going undefeated.
See, that could be more of the fallout with the domino effect on one little decision like this. This is how it's going to play out. It could.
And there's no guarantee they're going to play in the Orange Bowl. They're still deciding if they're going to even play in the game.
So once again, they get the invite. Now they have to accept it. It's not just locked in. Right now, that's who's playing. Is what's on.
Play Georgia, and it's like, why?
So that'll be very interesting. We'll have more of that on Wednesday. Now, the Heisman Trophy was announced.
Yes.
So Mr. Jaden Daniels, LSU quarterback, won it. He, was a big
another thing the NCAA got wrong.
Okay, fair enough. He was Arizona State first for 3 years?
Yep.
And then switched on over to LSU. He's a dual threat. He had almost 5,000 combined yards this year passing, 40 touchdowns. And I think he scored 10 on the ground. He had 50 touchdowns and almost 5,000 yards. He was a 1,000-yard rusher. But you're right. The other candidates, I wasn't expecting him to win the Heisman, and he did.
Right. I was just looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. I thought was going to get it.
It's unreal. So congrats to Mr. Daniels. Fun stuff. And, Harrison, I think, finished 4th in the voting. He wasn't even in the top 3.
Right. And, this kid that won it, I mean, the dual threat quarterbacks like that, very few are doing that well in the NFL at it.
Yeah, that does not
Josh Allen. Josh Allen throws a lot of touchdowns and runs for a lot of yards and runs for a lot of touchdowns and throws a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, it does. It never means that these guys, it'll translate to the next level, as they say, right? The average quarterback in college could be very good. The very good quarterback in college could be a dud when they come out. You never know. And they put so much thinking and thought into it, trying to narrow that down. And it's tough. Christian Ponder was the best on paper of all time, is what they said. The best quarterback coming out because he's got brains, he can throw, he's the right size, the right mobility, and it never went.
You mean like Dobbs?
Dobbs, fast, dual threat
guy. He's the right side.
So you never know at the NFL level how you're going to pan out. But congrats to winning the Heisman, which leads us, Andy, to our answer.
Yes. Go ahead with the question.
The question once again, who the local boy was, the local gentleman, I suppose, who won the Heisman Trophy in the year 2000. Any guesses?
He was a grown man. It was Chris Winkie.
Yes, it
South,
was.
South St. Paul,
So
St. Paul Harding. Where do you go? Wendell
he
St.
was
Paul?
Cretin-Derham Hall.
Creighton. Somewhere in St. Paul.
Three-sport athlete, good first baseman in baseball, won the Heisman as a quarterback in football, was good all-state, I believe, basketball player too, kind of like a Joe Mauer at the time. Winkie was really good.
He went and played
Um,
baseball for a few years.
he was a second-round pick by the Toronto Blue Jays.
I think they were going to give him a call to spring training, look at him to come up, and he said, nope, I'm going to try college football. So he goes in at 25 years old his freshman year.
As a freshman.
Does that, gets his thing. And this is the whole Heisman to pro transfer. Heisman Trophy winner at 25. He's going to go pro. So here he's a 30-year-old rookie in the NFL, playing for the Carolina Panthers. Gets the starting job that year. He's going to be the man for the Panthers. Their first game is here in Minnesota. No, because the NFL's not fixed or rigged at all. Let's have Winkie's first game be in Minnesota. Carolina wins that game, then loses the next 15 that year.
They were known, yes, for some infamous records in the losing.
Get that Heisman Trophy candidate or quarterback, and you're good.
Now, they won the national title in college. The team he was on was voted the Heisman Trophy winner. He was not even on the consensus All-American team. There was another quarterback that made the All-American consensus All-American team at the quarterback position, and not him. Yep. And he was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yep.
So he went on to play, 6 years in the minor leagues for baseball, and very good. I looked him up, as part of our trivia today. The guy's 50 years. I think he's 51 years old.
Yep.
He could be eligible, Andy, to be playing in an over 50-plus senior men's league right now. Maybe I wonder if he's getting offers to play. I know he's coaching still in football, but still a tremendous athlete.
Should give him a call to go to Florida with you guys next year.
He lives. Him and his family are in Austin, Texas, but he's over 50. He should be playing, I think, in a senior men's baseball.
Well, when we go down to San Antonio at Christmas to see former intern Abby, I'll give him a ringer. I'll call him.
See you in Austin. Yep. He's still doing a lot of coaching. He was active with with John Madden doing some things too at the time. But very.
I'm not ripping on him by saying the 1-15 season. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
great guy, great kid. Just it's the whole. You get the Heisman Trophy winner, and
they were on I would call it a bad team, but boy, he couldn't win a game to save his life. He sputtered around in the NFL as a backup quarterback for a while. Never won games as a starting quarterback. He won that Vikings game against the Vikes, and that was it. Never became much. But he was one of those guys that entered college. Just imagine playing in the SEC or the ACC at age 25 as a freshman quarterback. You're older than every senior that's there. You're probably the same age as a lot of the grad assistant coaches on the staff.
Yep.
And you're the young rookie quarterback. So he came in, Andy. The other thing that happened on this day today was Charlie Ward won the Heisman Trophy.
And then went and played for the New York Knicks.
That's right. Did he? Yes.
Yes.
Charlie Ward. So he was in the same recruiting class with Winkie to begin with. Winkie says, no, I'm going to go play for the Blue Jays. And maybe that helped decide it because Charlie Ward would have been the starter perhaps, or Winkie.
And didn't Charlie Ward play at Florida State too?
Yes, and he won the Heisman at Florida State. They were in the same recruiting class. They had them both ready to sign on the dotted line, and Winkie says, I'm going to go play some baseball. And I'll bet it had something to do with Ward. I didn't know the story, but Ward went on to be the starting quarterback, won the Heisman, switched to NBA to actually play major league NBA basketball in the pros.
Yep.
Winkie went football and baseball, both. Very interesting. I like that trivia question for today. The last thing we've got for today, bowl season. So the Army-Navy game finished. That's the last game of the
nice finish for that game.
Very good finish. I watched that. Was what 1917-12 or
1911.
1911 was the final score. But so that's week 15 of the college football. There's always just one game and gives everyone a break until bowl season hits. Now bowl season is going to be here Andy, we got the 4 games you talked about already, which are D3 Friday and Saturday, D2. I mean D2 one's Friday, one's Saturday, and then the FCS is Friday and Saturday. Good big games, and then college football D1, the big boys. 6 games kick off the season Saturday, staggered throughout the day to make it an all-day event, and then you can throw in some NFL games on Saturday as well.
Now, as we're recording this, there's 2 Monday night games tonight.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, but there is 2.
There was because at first I thought was it bad weather somewhere and they moved the game. Nope. I guess NFL planned this. It shows you how much I follow along. It didn't even notice it until I was looking at my fantasy team. And speaking of the games, Tennessee Titans Hall of Famer, or their team Hall of Famer, Frank Wycheck passed the other day.
Okay.
2 years old. Famous for the Music City Miracle. The pass to him, and he threw it across field on the kickoff.
Oh, yes.
He was at home, 52 years old, fell and struck his head against something. So,
I did not hear of Wycheck. Wow.
Yeah. So, the Titans have a little band or patch on their uniforms or something tonight, or do something special for him. So, yeah, nice guy, great guy. Again, everybody loved him. Just freak accident, fell at home, bumped his head. So.
Wow, Vikes escaped with a 3-0 victory against the Raiders in Las Vegas.
And the Wild won 3-0 yesterday also. Coincidence?
Very interesting. Now, the college football, once again, there's the 6 college football bowl games, and then there's the 2 championships for D3, D2, and then the FCS semifinals. So lots of good. There's 10 football games to watch Friday and Saturday combined for college. Going forward, there's 2 or 3.
9. There's what? Because D3 is a championship game, not a Final Four.
Yes, D3 and D2 are both championship games.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're right.
So there's the 6 big schools, and then the 2 small
FCS,
schools. There's 8,
right.
and then the 2 FCS, which are semifinals. So a total of 10 games between Friday night and Saturday afternoon. And after that, I think there's most of the bowl games are 1 to 2 to maybe 3 a day. There's not as many as 6 until we get closer to New Year's. But that's the sports.
And if you do it, college football games are going to mix them all around between USA Network, ESPN2, ESPN. They should mostly be on the ESPN family of networks, but don't be surprised if something comes up, they bump it. So.
Awesome. That's all I've got. Have a good week, everyone.
See ya.